touch anything. Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, then used in some sort of ritualistic practice. Nothing's a toy. Not even the toys.
Hey everybody, welcome back to JT Channel and welcome to a very different video, something that I've been looking forward to doing for a little while now. A ranking video. I am going to rank the current Conjuring movies. There are 8 of them, and the opening there was a little clip from the trailer for the Conjuring Last Rites. No, New Line Cinema has nothing to do with this, but I thought that'd be a really cool way to open the video with the clip from the beginning of the trailer, kind of get you guys hyped up for what's coming. If you haven't seen the trailer for the Conjuring Last Rites, I highly suggest you check it out. It looks fantastic. These movies are among my favorites. Actually, they are my favorites. Controversial, maybe the most controversial thing I'll ever say on this channel is that the Conjuring Universe movies are my favorite horror movies over any of the classics, any of the others. There's nothing wrong with the classics. I grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street. That was my favorite growing up. And I thoroughly enjoyed those movies, but the thing is, in my opinion, there is not a bad Conjuring movie. Conjuring, Annabelle, Nun. We'll get into it a little more here shortly. But even the ones that I consider not as good as the rest, I still like a lot. I know a lot of people didn't like certain movies in this list, but for me personally, I loved all of them. And after the release of the trailer for the next Conjuring movie, which is supposed to be the last one in the main title series, the Conjuring series, I decided to start rewatching those movies, and I thought it'd be fun to sit down with you guys and rank them. Now again, this is my personal rankings. Like I already said, a lot of people don't care for these movies, especially the Nun movies, which again, we'll get into it. But me personally, I love them. I didn't get a chance to watch the Nun 2 or the Conjuring 3, but I've seen the Conjuring 3 recently enough to where it's still burned in my brain, and I kind of did like a deep dive on the Nun 2, where I just kind of read the plot, watched clips, stuff like that. So, again, I'm going to rank these from 8 to 1, but it'll be a lot similar, it will be very similar to my Sleep Token review, where I was like, if I had to put a song at number 10, it would be Even in Arcadia. However, that doesn't mean I didn't like the song, it just means that if I had to rank them. So, let's get into it. I'll stop babbling now, just kind of wanted to explain all this. And again, I do not own the rights to the opening there, I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys a bit of that trailer. In at number 8 is The Nun 2. Now, like I said, didn't get to rewatch this movie like I wanted to. But when I was reading about it and watching clips and stuff, I have to admit that among the 8 films that we currently have in the Conjuring universe, it belongs at the bottom of the list. It's not bad. Like I said, I like all these movies. It's not a bad movie, but there are some things that make me go, I don't know about that. Some of the jump scares that I got to rewatch were pretty cool. You know, I did enjoy those. I think the Conjuring universe has jump scares down pat. I don't think there's another franchise out there, any movies out there that are better at jump scares than the Conjuring universe. But if I have to be honest, it's the whole Sister Irene is the descendant of that saint. I can't remember the saint's name. So when she gets lifted in the air and set on fire, spontaneously combusts, it doesn't hurt. Like, oh, I'm the descendant of a saint. Oh. Now, of course, these movies are known for making you suspend your disbelief, and that's okay. I'm a big fan of the Insidious movies. You want to talk about suspending your disbelief? You're telling me I can go to sleep, leave my body, time travel to my former self, and figure out how to defeat the demon. It's... I love movies that make you do that kind of stuff, where you can suspend your disbelief, and you can just kind of enjoy a horror movie, and the plot lines like that are really good. Well, the Insidious movies are for a different video. But in The Nun 2, I just feel like all the other stuff that the rest of the movies did it better. I know James Wan said recently that he feels like you can make more Nun movies because they have that time frame from like whenever the first movie starts all the way to the first Conjuring, which was in the 50s or the 60s. And you know, it's fine. It's a fine movie. How about that? That's why it's at number 8, because while I enjoyed it, I did not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the rest of the movies on this list. So, in at number 8 is the most recent movie in the universe, which is The Nun 2. Again, I won't say it's bad, but personally I just didn't enjoy it as much as number 7, which is The Nun. Again, a lot of people just didn't like these movies. When The Nun first came out, I remember it being lambasted online. But when you look up The Nun 2, it says the sequel to the beloved or highly successful or smash hit. It's like a lot of people went to go see it, sure, but people really didn't care for it. When I rewatched it the other day, I own the 6 of the movies on DVD. I loved it. Like, I was surprised at how good it was. It's still at number 7 overall, sure, but I still really enjoyed it. It had really good timing with the jump scares. Again, some of the deaths were kind of cool, I think, the way they did all that. And I love how they tied it into the first Conjuring movie. I think it was the first Conjuring movie with Maurice, who was, possessed and all that. I think it does a good job of introducing Valak to the universe, and you get this crazy scene where Sister Irene is praying, and then Valak takes out all these other nuns that had entered the room to pray with her, and then when the father and Maurice come to save her, they were never there. And I love that, especially because, again, to compare it to other horror movies, not that you should do that ever. Do not compare horror movies to each other. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you've never heard that phrase before, now you have. But the Smile movies are a good example of a demon making you think things are happening for an extended period of time, and then when it feels right, it pulls you back in and you're back in reality. And I think The Nun does a good job with that. That scene is, yes, hi baby, is one of my favorites in the whole movie, because no matter how many times I watch it, I never see it coming. The nuns are just around, then you just, boom, they all go flying away, and the reveal that it was never real was just really good. It has a good opening, too. It has a really scary opening, in my opinion, where the one nun goes into the room to try to deal with the demon and then gets drug away, and the other one has to do what she has to do. And it's a good movie. Again, overall, yes, it's at number 7, because the short version is every movie that comes up next in the list I just enjoyed more. But when we really get into the top 3 or 4 is when it's going to start getting really into it. But yes, number 7 is The Nun. Again, both Nun movies I did enjoy, but if I have to be realistic, they do fall to the bottom of the list. Coming in at number 6, and I was surprised they made this decision overall, is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the third Conjuring movie. The most recent of the main title films. It is fine. Once again, like I said about The Nun 2, and even The Nun. But, once again, I do feel like, I know I'm repeating myself, but I feel like everything that The Conjuring 3 does, it does really well, but I do feel like it was done better in the other movies. I will say I am a really big fan of the last 20 minutes or so. I'm a fan of the witch. It's about a witch. I don't know if you knew that or not. Sorry if it's a spoiler alert. I should have said something, but obviously don't watch this. If you're watching this video and you're just now realizing I'm spoiling these movies, what are you doing? But it's about a witch, and I mean, Ed gets possessed, and this other dude gets possessed trying to kill himself, and Ed tries to kill Lorraine. Lorraine has to break him of this because you have to destroy the witch's altar in order for the curse to be broken. It's a curse. It's not necessarily a demon. And it's just a great way to end the movie because it has you on the edge of your seat. Yes, Ed isn't going to kill Lorraine. But it's still a really good kind of almost action-y finale for this movie where Ed has to be broken out of the curse because Lorraine kind of reminds him who he is and how much he loves her. And then he takes, I think, a sledgehammer and just destroys this altar. It's really cool. It's got a great plot. Obviously, a guy gets possessed and kills somebody. I think he stabs him 22 times and then forgets about it. And then he gets arrested because he's walking around covered in blood. I think it's either the only or the very first ever case of someone using demon possession as their reasoning. It's like they went to court and that was it. They were like, I was possessed by a demon. And they were telling the truth and all this. It's actually a pretty famous court case. And of course, all the Conjuring main line movies are based on true stories. But yeah, at number 6 is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's a good movie, but I do feel like at this point, the other movies had done it better. I'm hoping Last Rites proves me wrong. I'm hoping Last Rites does what it needs to do to put itself high on this list when I do it again someday. Coming in at number 5, we're now into the Annabelle movies, as I have here Annabelle Comes Home. Now, this one is the one I watched the most recently, so it's like the freshest in my brain. It is really good. I like the involvement of multiple demons, multiple spirits from the Warrens' little demonology room or whatever, occult museum, I think is what it's called nowadays. But I love how they just involve all these other characters. Now, it is hard for me to discern if the Annabelle demon is the one who lets them loose, or if the Annabelle demon is using them as conduits. I think that's a cool theory to get into, because basically the plot of this one is that Judy, the Warren's little girl, is being babysat, and the babysitter's best friend just shows up at the house, Daniela, who's a character that I have a hard time deciding if I love or hate, and I'll talk about why in a second. Like I said, the further we get into this list, the more deep into the movies I'm going to get into. So again, maybe I should put a spoiler warning on this, but if you're watching this, you should know that spoilers. But anyway, long story short, I should say, Daniela finds her way into the occult museum and starts touching shit and opens Annabelle's case. And then after she does that, things start going haywire. They let loose the demon from Annabelle. The samurai suit comes to life. There's a hellhound. There's a wedding dress that possesses people. There's a ferryman, whatever you want to call him. It's really cool. But the thing is, as cool as it is, it's not as scary in my opinion. And it's so weird to say that, because it's a terrifying movie, don't get me wrong. But when you start to bring in, like, for example, hellhounds. Me, my wife over there, Supernatural, the show, fucking love it, alright? We've never finished it because we don't want it to end. But obviously hellhounds are a part of that show. So you would think something like that would make me go, oh, hell yeah. That, you know, it is high on this list. It's the first Annabelle movie, and it's at number 5. It's kind of like right before the halfway point. But with that being said, because it's so cool, for me, I don't think it's as scary. And that's why it comes here at number 5. I could have put it at the bottom of the list because it's not as scary, but for me, it's just so much fun to watch because you never know what's going to happen next. Like I said, you see the Annabelle demon a lot in this movie. And then you have this guy named Bob, whose nickname is Bob's Got Balls. It's a stupid nickname because he gets basketballs for the basketball team. And he gets chased by this hellhound, and then Daniela gets possessed by the wedding dress, and you've got, who did I mention, the ferryman at some point, trying to scare people, trying to get people to do his bidding or whatever. It's a really cool concept, and you get this, you see all these other things as well, this piano and this locket, this TV that basically predicts the future. It's a really good movie, and the reason that Daniela is a hard character is because she's the whole reason all this happens. The whole reason. Because she's like, oh, I want to see this stuff. Is it real? Oh, look at all this spooky shit. But then you find out later on that she's only really doing this because she wants to communicate with her dad, who died in a car accident where she was driving. And you start to feel kind of sorry for her. And at the end of the movie, in my opinion, the most powerful ending of any of these movies, Lorraine gives her back the picture of her dad that she had put in this locket and tells her that she's spoken to her dad, because Lorraine can see, she can talk to the other side. And she said that her dad loves her, misses her, and the wreck was not her fault. Go and live your life. And it's just a good ending. And plus Judy gets all her friends, has all these kids come over her birthday party, which is cool as well, because earlier in the movie, people were just making fun of her, but by the end, everybody is, her friend again. And I think the little boy at the end that bullies her in the beginning and becomes a friend at the end, I think he has kind of a crush on her. I think that's the idea, and I think that's cute. So, The Conjuring, oops, I'm dumb. I looked at the wrong number. Annabelle Comes Home is the movie we're still talking about. She just watched somebody on TV pretend to hurt their leg, so she's pretending her leg is hurt now. One of these days, I'm going to make a video, beginning to end. I'm not going to stutter. I'm not going to talk too fast. I'm not going to mess up my words. Annabelle comes in at number 5. All right. We are 15 minutes into this video, and we are halfway through the list. This may be the halfway through point of the video as well, because now we're into the top 4, which, you know, top 3 is really the important ones. But at number 4, beginning the second half of the list, the top half, is Annabelle, the movie that I have so much love and so much memories. I saw this movie in theaters the day it came out, and it scared me so much at the time that I walked out of the movie theater, walked 4 blocks down the street to the Hard Rock Cafe, and had to get drunk because I had to start forgetting. That was the first time I saw it, okay, the first time. Obviously, over time, it's just sat up there as a movie that I thoroughly enjoy. It still has a few jump scares that get me. I think the ambience of the movie still stands the test of time. I saw this movie when I was in the military, so it has to be at least 10 or so years old. And it was good then, it's good now. I love the design of the demon. I love, the story's so great. The opening, the first real jump scare still gets me to this day. It's one of those jump scares that you can't get rid of. I totally forgot what I said last, but anyway, it's when I watched it, the jump scare that still gets me at the beginning of the movie when the blood splatter goes across the wall from the husband. The musical sting gets me every time, and it's because it's so well timed, in my opinion. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. I don't want to get too much into the timing of the Conjuring Universe's jump scares just yet, because that's going to take up a few minutes of time, because I really want to talk about it. To this day, I still want one. I'm waiting for my wife to overhear me and tell me no. But I made a joke on Snapchat about it. I still want my own Annabelle doll. See, I love it so much. I was even willing to buy the little one that was like a toy, because it was in the case looked the same. It had said positively do not open, and I was just gonna leave it in the case and hang it on the wall or something. Instead, I'm probably gonna get "I like your dolls" tattooed in this font here at the bottom of my shirt, on one of my arms. Oop. Our angry sick cat is out. But anyway, that's how much I loved this movie. It stuck with me, and it's really good. It's really scary. I think it's at number 4, whereas The Conjuring 3 was at number 3. We haven't even gotten to the other Conjuring movies yet. But I think it did a good job of getting you ready for the rest of the Conjuring universe, because Annabelle is a central character for sure. So, in at number 4 is Annabelle. My favorite part of the whole movie. The whole movie is when the demon does a launch attack at that poor black lady and knocks her out the apartment. It's so interesting and so funny. It doesn't scare me, but it makes me laugh. It scared me the first time I saw it, and then rewatch. I'm like, this dude is hanging upside down from the ceiling, and then he launches, spins, and pushes her out the door. I don't know why it's so great. Top 3 time, and coming in at number 3 is the one that started it all, The Conjuring. Oh my God. This movie still, to me, is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Obviously, it's in my top 3. And if you're keeping track, you know what the last 2 are. And I'm curious if you figured out what number 1 is or not. But at number 3, like I said, the first Conjuring movie, it has to be up here, right? It's whenever you're ranking anything like this, the original has to stand somewhere in the top 3. It just does. It doesn't mean it's not scary. As a matter of fact, I think my top 3 for this list all qualify as being equally scary. Well, except for number 1. Number 1 scares the absolute shit out of me every time I watch it. Anyway, you got the hide and clap scene, which is amazing. When the mom gets locked in the stairway to the basement, and you get the hide and clap, and she gets stuck in there, and the witch, it's a witch in this one as well, which I thought was interesting. I didn't remember that when I rewatched it. Traps her and is going after all the kids and is throwing them around, and she watches the dresser. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong movie. I got ahead of myself. But it does a really good job of setting up the universe, and like I said, I think it still stands at the scares, the ambience. It's really good. It's really good. So yeah, at number 3, the first Conjuring movie. At number 2, you ready? You ready to figure out what number 1 is? Because as soon as, if you're keeping track, then you should know what the last 2 are. At number 2 is The Conjuring 2. The second Conjuring movie is my favorite Conjuring movie. It has some of the... I mentioned the dresser sliding. That's from the second movie. Maybe it's a witch in the second one. I'm so sorry. I watched all these movies kind of back to back recently, and I've been dealing with a lot at home. The point is, it's just a great way to amp everything up. Because you have all these little kids, and you have the little kid that there's always a disability kid, I feel like, in these movies. Because in The Conjuring 2, you have the kid that stutters a lot, and you're always worried what's going to happen to him, but he's actually going after the little girl for the most part. This might be the one where there's a witch because the woman can't leave the house or whatever. But that might be the first one. Again, I'm really sorry. All these things are just crossing in my mind. The point is, I really enjoyed the second movie. I feel like it has just the right amount of stuff going on, and I love the scene where you find out that the little girl who has been possessed and dealing with all this faked an incident, but it turns out that she did it because of the demon told her to. This is the one where Valak is like everywhere, even at the Warrens' home, and Lorraine keeps seeing visions of Ed's death. You get the Crooked Man for the first time, and that's such a great... Oh, I love the CGI for the Crooked Man and the voice for the Crooked Man. You get Bill Wilkins, the character who is died but can't move on because Valak is making him do all these things, and you get that awesome kind of back and forth where Ed figures out as they're leaving after the faked incident that they go to leave, and then Ed accidentally drops 2 recordings, and they so happen to cross over each other, and that's when you realize it's 2 separate messages. They head back. It's really good. One of the girls gets like flung into a window. They all get messed up. It's just really well done, in my opinion. And again, that's when you get into really, it's the first time we get Valak, and it's such a well done character. It's such a well done demon. Ed almost dying. You know, what else is new? It belongs at number 2 for me. Last Rites looks really good, but it's going to take a lot for me to put another Conjuring movie above the second one. And if you haven't figured it out yet, coming in at number 1 is Annabelle Creation. I said this on social media recently. When I say this is my favorite horror movie, I genuinely mean it. Now that right there, that's the statement that's going to get my channel shut down. If the people that watch this are going to hear Annabelle Creation, and they're going to jump in my comments and call me names. But to this day, that movie scares me. It excites me. It takes my full attention. You cannot look away from the screen, even for a moment. Because even in the opening, with the first family that lives there, and with the little girl, and yes, it's reminiscent of Pet Sematary and what happens to Gage. Who cares? Who cares? Movies are going to rip each other off until the end of time. But in all reality, what it does is it sets up the rest of the movie, because you kind of know what's going to happen next. The demon pretends to be their little girl and then works its way in and then starts taking control of the weakest person, which is, I think, Janice, who has polio and can't walk without a crutch. It's so good. And this is where I want to talk about the way these movies do their jump scares. It seems, to me anyway, every single movie in the Conjuring universe, you can never really keep up with when the jump scares are going to be. Sometimes they're exactly when you expect them, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes there's 2 in a row where you get jump scared, and then you're like, whoa, and then they like run out of the room, and they get jump scared again. They do such a good job with giving you too much time to expect a jump scare. And there's going to be people that watch this video and go, oh, well, I know when every jump scare is going to happen in every movie that I've ever watched in my entire life. And that's, good for you, but that sounds like a boring way to live. With the Conjuring movies, James Wan and company, they'll make you wait like 6 to 8 seconds before a jump scare hits. And that's a long time to sit at a totally silent screen waiting for something to happen. Especially when it does like the back and forth. It's like you look here, you look there, you look here, you look there. And you're like, is something going to happen? This must be just like an ambience moment. And then something jumps out at you and scares you. Just scares you. Annabelle Creation does a really, really good job of that. I still don't really know when the jump scares are. And I just rewatched this movie. I could put it on again right after this video, and I still wouldn't know. I probably watched Creation like 3 days ago. And I'd probably be like, wait, is this the jump scare? Plus you have what, in my opinion, is one of the like best moments in the series. And when Janice gets like taken into the air, and you're just not sure where she went because it's so dark. Like, did she just go to the roof, or did she like, out there somewhere in like another dimension before she gets possessed, and then drop to the ground, and now she's in a wheelchair, and then it's the next scene where she gets actually vomited into, which you would think that would be disgusting or I'd be sick of it, but it's one of my favorite things in these movies is when the demon has to vomit blood or black goo to possess somebody. But it's really good. It's really scary. Janice, of course, becomes Annabelle. That becomes her name. And then it ties directly into the first Annabelle movie because you actually see what happens in the house of that family. You actually see Annabelle and her boyfriend come in and kill the dad or whatever. And it also has, in my opinion, the right amount of gore. Because I'm not a gore hound. I don't mind gory movies. Terrifier. Hello, I love the Terrifier movies. That's, again, another video for another day. But with movies like these, you don't want too much gore, which is why The Nun 2 is in last place. Like, why do we have to lift someone up and set them on fire? And the other Nun movie, you saw a dead body getting its, eyes picked out by birds, pecked out, I should say. Annabelle Creation does a great job of, like, making you kind of forget about that kind of stuff, but not making it totally unexpected, because the father, the guy, he gets his fingers broken all the way backwards, and then gets the life sucked out of him or whatever. But it's the mom's death that's surprising, because you're literally talking to her 1 minute. The sister she's talking to her 1 minute, and then the next, the girls are trying to come get her, Mrs. Mullins, that's her name, Mullins, and they're trying to get her out of the bedroom so they can all escape. And they're like, where'd she go? And she's pinned up to the wall with the bottom half of her body missing. Well, not missing, I think it's on the floor. And it's so unexpectedly shocking. Like, the first time I saw that, I was like, whoa, where did that come from? And then the ending, of course, is great. Like I said, for me, it's a perfect horror movie. Plenty of scares, great ambience, the right amount of gore. You never really know what's going to happen next. Whoop. Angry sick cat. So, to me, this is my favorite horror movie universe franchise out of any of them. Annabelle Creation is my favorite horror movie for all those reasons. So thank you so much for sitting down and sharing this with me. Like I said, I want to do more fun things like this, more talking videos throughout the week. I think these are interesting to do. I also love to talk. Literally, just this week, I've gotten my wife and my boss to admit that I'm right. My boss literally said the other day, well, you do kind of like to talk. So I think I'm going to do more videos like this. I don't know about ranking videos, but again, I would like to just say this is my own personal opinion, because I think all these movies are good. I do think The Nun 2 almost goes too far, but it's still enjoyable for me. And when it comes to, like I mentioned earlier that my favorite horror movies before this were the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. There are bad Nightmare on Elm Street movies. There are bad Friday the 13th movies. There are bad Halloween movies. There are bad Puppet Masters, Hellraisers. I could go on forever. For me personally, I like all these movies, so it stands as my favorite horror movie franchise. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Go ahead and let me know in the comments, what do you think of these movies? Again, go ahead and yell at me for these being my favorites and Annabelle Creation being my favorite horror movie. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and do all those things. I don't know. See, 30-minute mark. I told you. I don't know when I'll do another one of these movies. I could do more horror franchises. Last year, for Godzilla's 70th anniversary, I was going to rank all the Godzilla movies, but I decided against it because that would take a really long time. But maybe I'll do that someday. That'd be really fun to do. That's it for now. Like I said, let me know what you think of these movies, these kinds of videos. Maybe I'll do more of them in the future. As far as what's next for the channel, obviously I want to finish No Man's Sky. And if you haven't seen the MAW Hell on Earth rundown yet, check that out. That will be tomorrow and Sunday, and we'll see what happens next week. W Energy, as always, I don't always remember to include them, but they are a sponsor of this channel, no matter what the video is. WEnergy.gg, JT channel in all caps for 10% off your order, sugar-free and jitterless energy drink. So until next time, this is JT channel. I am JT, and I will see you in the next one.